Recording started. Well, guys, happy Boxing Day. It's 26th of December 2025. I hope you all had a very, very pleasant Christmas day with your family members, wherever you are, because I know we have members from all over the world. I think it's going to be a pretty quiet day, though, today. People are not going to be tuning in, but we always get them on the rerun, don't we? Because we record this and put it out. So I'm still going to go through the information and through the things I've prepared as though we have a full house. But I don't think we will have a full house because it's still holiday, isn't it? Vacation. But how are you? Anybody got any stories they want to share? Anybody huge falling outs over Christmas? Excuse that, I'm really thirsty. I just realized. Um, well, what did I do? I had some family around and I cooked. I always do the turkey. And I think this year, I don't know what I did differently, but it was absolutely perfect. Moist, cooked all the way through, not burned. So we had a really, really good um lunch. A lot of laughing and giggling going on. There wasn't many people. There was six of us or eight of us. Hang on a second. There's four, seven of us, but there was some children in all amongst all that lot as well. So it was four adults and three children. And it was nice. But later in the day, when the wine kicked in, that's when the shadows started coming. And this is where I'm going to go tonight on some of these things that happen in people's persona inside. Because I've watched it for many, many years and I've got to understand it a lot more recently with some of the events that I've had to go through. And all of a sudden, a lot of dots put together or the puzzles fitted together. And I understand a lot more about people that I've had in my life and who they are and what their personality is and what their issues are. Um, and if I'm honest, it's very disappointing because, okay, yes, I've been aware of about a lot of these things for a long time, but it got me very sad. I've had a bit of a sad day today because I've been thinking about the issues that people have and the personalities and how it ruins their lives and ruins relationships and holds them back from achieving and gaining abundance. And it's because they just can't get a grip. Um, the word lost came to mind, but somebody else used something else. It's like living in a constant confusion. Let me push that back a bit. Up, video will come back on. It's always a bit sensitive, that. There you go. Living in a constant confusion. So where do I actually go to start with this? Because if we were to go through, let's just say that you wanted to do some inner work on yourself, or you wanted to talk to somebody in your family about this, where would you start? Because a lot of people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to know. They don't want to admit they have any psychological, personality, childhood traits that have holding them back in this current time period, this current timeline. So it's a difficult one. And I've written a lot of these down, which are the ones that I feel are going to come out and cause problems for you. But it all boils down to what sort of person are you? I mean, you have to have a set of life rules. And if you make the life rules and you live with inside your own life rules, then according to my feeling, you should be okay. Now, I'm going to establish that I actually don't have any shadows. It's bizarre, guys. I don't have any, have I got a temper? Yes, I've got a temper, but I'm not vindictive. I'm not, I don't hold grudges. If I go, I go. I will snap. It takes a lot to make me snap, but it doesn't take me a lot for me to pipe up and stand in my truth and say, hey, that's wrong. You're being a bully, or that's not your parking space, or I was here first, or they were there first. That's just standing up for. for what's right and wrong. But I don't have any shadows. So I was talking to a really special person in my life. Um, well, weirdly enough, that's her calling now. How weird is that? We're not in a relationship. We're just really, really close. We were. She was an ex of mine, 10 years ago. And I wonder why she's called me. That's strange, isn't it? I'll call her later. 1 second. Oh, she's on a video. So let me pause it and I'm going to go and hand it to my house guests. It's probably for them. Right. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm sorry I'm back, but that's bizarre, isn't it? Anyway, the phone's in the other room now, so I won't get distracted. But we'll start off with the phone. Well, actually, no, let's go back to that main thing. I'm sorry this desk is so wobbly. I don't know what to do about that. It's getting on my nerves. Um, People have got too much to hide these days, and that's it. If you're in a relationship, you're married, if you're boyfriend, girlfriend, you've probably got something to hide. Stop moving around. God damn it. What can I use to stop that? If you've got something to hide, then this is where it all starts. So I needed to come up with a list of ways that you can test yourself. And the number one thing is imagine you're sitting there next to your partner, and your partner says to you, I'd like to look through your phone. Now, yes, that's a breach of trust and confidence because you could say, well, why? Are you suspicious? Do you feel that there's something on there that I've been lying to you about? Now, I actually ended a relationship on this basis because the person, the woman that I was involved with, this is about 10 years ago, she thought I was having some form of inappropriate relationship with somebody else. And I said, okay, I'm telling you I'm not. And if you don't believe me and you need to go and look at my phone, this is going to be a problem because you're going to say, I don't believe you, David. I think you're a liar. And therefore, that creates mistrust. But I'm going to leave the phone there. You know my passcode. But if you pick it up and you start looking at the messages, because I won't erase them, I haven't gone in there and erased them. They're all there for many, many years. You can go in there, and when you realize that I was telling you the truth, you've just destroyed that trust. And I left it there. And within a few minutes, she picked it up and saw that I was telling the truth. There was nothing inappropriate, just all business related. And burst into tears and said, please forgive me. I said, no, I warned you. I warned you and I triple explained it. Do you understand? Yes, I do. Okay. There you go. So that was the end of that relationship because trust is like a crystal glass. When it's broken, even if you use the best glue, it's still fragile. It's never the same again. You can't put back trust. It's very difficult to. And I know there's several relationships that have forgiven cheating and having an affair and gone back to them, but it's always floating around inside the head. That he's late or she's late and doesn't answer when you want them to answer. It's always floating around, and then there's always that doubt. It's a really hard one to get over. So here's what I said to myself. I said, you have to live your life by life rules. And you have to be able to say, here's my phone. You can look at anything you want. There's nothing on there. Now, how many people out there listening to this could absolutely be honest and say, I can do that? If you're in a relationship, hand the phone over to your partner. And are you 100% confident that they're not going to find anything inappropriate? It's going to cause a serious emotional rift, potential breakup or divorce. Now, there's going to be things on there, like women discuss personal things with their friends. I had a situation a couple of days ago where a friend of mine was complaining about her new partner not rinsing his toothbrush off. So he brushes his teeth, but doesn't rinse it off, so it's all get cakey and, crusty. And also, the other thing that she thinks is strange is he doesn't put his socks on correctly. When you got the heel of the sock, it goes on the heel. He just puts them on. So she happened to mention this in a text message to a friend saying, well, it's quite new. We've just moved in together, but he does these things. They're kind of getting on my nerves. And he picked up her phone and he opened it up while she was sleeping and read this message, which is a complete breach of trust on his part. And I said, you've got to nip that in the bud straight away. Now, there was nothing in that message other than a little bit of ego bruising, but still, on the account of him doing that, not trusting her, that is a rift. That's a situation. So, how many people out there can say, you can look through my phone and look at anything? Now, I could do that. Um, but the problem is, you have to explain it. For example, the last relationship I had, I think you know who that was. There would be messages on there which were jokes, like, oh, I would say to my friend, have you got rid of that Moroccan stripper yet? And then he'd say back to me, no, I left them at your caravan. And things like this that are jokes between people. And that's just male, female. I mean, I have female friends that we say things like that to each other. I knew you wouldn't pick up on a Saturday night because, you're probably knee deep in your strippers or something. So to be able to interpret it and say, okay, look, and here's how you get out of that. You say, anything you find on my phone, you just ring the person and ask them. Ask them. It didn't come to that for me because it was just gone beyond that. Gone beyond that. That's all I'll say. So can you honestly sit there and say, here's my phone, darling, look through it, and if you don't like anything about it, just ask me, and we can either call that person or I'll explain it, or I can go back and show you the other text from a few weeks ago when that joke first started. Is there anything in your emails that you wouldn't like people to look at? There's nothing in my mind. I get these emails all the time saying we've activated your webcam while you've been using your laptop and we've seen the perverted things that you do. I said, oh, that's interesting. I'd like to see that too because I must have a total loss of memory. You're only going to see my web browser. I tell you what, I'll open it now. It'll be Porsche parts, um, BMW parts. It's just car parts usually in eBay. Today on eBay, I bought two door locks for a 2003 Mercedes S-Class. Wow. Living on the edge, aren't I? That's my browser history. So, can you honestly be that person? Car stripping, yeah, I like that. Can you honestly be that person who has no shadows, that you're not worried? You're not worried. Who calls you? Leave your phone there. When it calls, who is it? Yeah, answer it, babe. I do that when I need to, when I'm in a relationship. Yeah, answer it. I don't care. There is no secrets. There are no secrets. I don't have anything hidden in my past that I'm ashamed of. And do you remember when I spoke about this recently? All these other people that are that do this sort of online truth talking, they all have moderators that monitor the comments. Now, Julianne is out there; she's monitoring it, but she doesn't erase things. She's under no verbal instructions for me to say, listen, if somebody types something, we got to keep it out of the, you got to erase it, ban that person. No, she puts links in there and she'll put, okay, this is the instructions how to use these supplements. Because all my stuff is open, as you know. Anybody can come in. There's no passcodes. You can come on and watch the show and you can type in whatever you want to type in there, you can type in there. And that's because I don't have any little dealers that say, hey, Mahoney, you bought 20 quid off me worth of gear and you didn't pay me. You said you're going to come around my caravan later and give us the money for the drugs. So out of all of these other little truth talkers online, they all have, you've got to be a member of the club. And then you got to go through the monitors and they've got their little minions all watching the comments like this. Oh shit. It's because they have shadows. It's because they don't want the little drug dealers or the little one night stands or the little people that they're getting things that they shouldn't be getting off, all coming on and saying, hey, you lying bastard. You're standing there, sitting there saying that you're holier than holy, but we know what you did last summer. And this is the point I was making a few months ago. There's so many people out there that are hiding who they really are. And yesterday, my Christmas message, it said 2025 was the year when the masks came off. They were forced off and slipped off. Many people showed me personally, at least four, showed me who they really were, and I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my God, I had no idea you were like so cunningly clever at covering up who you really were all this time." And I've literally cut all contact, blocked, banned, barred, no Christmas messages, no nothing. I will not have anything to do with these people like this. Nothing. I'm so brutal because I've learned the hard way that people take advantage of my kindness when they think that they can manipulate and apply narcissistic little traits. It's not your, yeah, it's your fault. You pushed me to do it. But I'm telling you guys, there are a lot of people out there that pretend to be experts and gurus. Oh, yes. They're liars and they have shadows and they have monitors and codes and secret access and members only because they're worried about what people are going to say. They're going to put pictures on there or put truth on there and say, hey, here's a picture of what we were doing last Saturday night. Yeah, in that nightclub, in that back room, or in the car on the way home. I don't have anything like that. And I challenge anybody out there who's listening, or if you want to forward it to someone, to try and come up with something on me. You'll come up with stuff that, yes, I spent 3 or 4 months in jail. I talk about it openly. I've never done a line of drugs in my life. I've never bought drugs. I've never used them. If I find out anybody in my circles even using them or anywhere near anybody using them, they're out. Super strict on that. I don't like people cheating on the partners. If I have a friend who's cheating on his girlfriend, I'll say no. Either sort it out, but don't call me anymore until you do it. It's morally wrong. And this is where I'm going with the rest of this chat tonight. It's a bit down, isn't it? It's not exactly my normal crazy all over the place. But life rules are so important. I've set life rules for myself and I don't break them. Occasionally I'll bend them. Like I'm guilty of giving people more chances than they ever deserved. You know, twice, 3 times, 4 times, I'll give them another chance, give them another chance, especially family members or people that are close to me that I love. I'll give them another chance. And ultimately, I find people don't change. They'll tell you they change. They'll say things like, "Oh, I went to a therapist. Here's a classic. I went to a therapist, or I went to a seminar. I went to like an online how to improve yourself as a human being seminar, and I was 2 days in Birmingham or London or New York or LA, whatever. And I paid, 500 quid for it, $500. And at the end of the day, they sit there with like-minded other people who've got similar problems, and they all kind of verbally pat themselves on the back saying, "Oh yeah, that was amazing." But as soon as the shadows come back, they're straight back in there as well. They might be able to refuse it for a short while, but the devil always comes a knocking, and they always come an answering. That's it. And it's something I've come to realize about how weak people are because they don't fix things properly. And that's where we're going to go right now. To fix things properly, because like anything in life, if you don't fix your car's brakes properly, they will fail. If you don't fix a leaking pipe properly, it will flood. It will fail. Anything in life that you bodge and don't do it properly, you do a quick that'll do job on it, it will fail and it will come back to hurt you and bite you on the ass. So where are we going to go with what we're going to fix? I hope this is interesting to you because I'm just checking if there's any. No, I'm good. Yeah. So what are you going to fix? I mean, I wrote down the top, what have we got there? Like, let's say top 10 moral codes that you need to rectify if you want to be a good balanced person. Now, I get it. You're probably thinking, oh, bollocks to you, Mahoney. You're sitting there in your self-centered throne of righteousness. Yes, there is the truth in that because I have the right to do that. Because I don't have shadows. I don't take drugs. I don't use prostitutes. I don't cheat on my partners. And I'm a good, honest, trustworthy person. That when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And you can ask anybody about that with me. And most of the time they say, I cannot believe how strong you are because you're so committed to what you're going to do. I say, yeah, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I do not believe in doing things by half. You either do it or don't do it, or shut up and stop talking about it. Procrastination gets on my nerves. So, yes, this comes across as me being arrogant and saying, yes, I'm holier than holy. No, I'm not a prophet. I'm just passing on the word of the divine and the life rules that you should apply. Now, I've applied these most of the time by accident because I never got into drugs when I was younger. I never went to raves. I didn't like them. I didn't like people hanging around the whole drug thing. I didn't like them. I prefer to have a pint and a laugh with the cigarette outside with the boys, having a laugh and a crack on and piss taking, winding each other up. I was always guided into staying away from the shadows. It never interested me. And I know why now when I look back. So let's talk about some of the issues that people have that hold them back. Um, and these are not in any particular order. They're not, okay, this is the most important one. They're not. I mean, I'll bring some up. Inner child. You'll hear this all the time. People saying, oh, you've got to let the inner child out, do the inner child work. But what the hell does that mean? If you don't know what it means, what does it mean? I'll tell you what it means. Mm. A lot of time, people don't have enough time in their childhood to be a child. They have an event or a set of circumstances that will force them into going from childhood into adulthood, teenage years, very, very quickly. I was one of these kids, and I'm sure there's many others out there. What happened with me, I went from 10 to 11 that summer, and then I had to live with my father, and then I had to take care of all my old school stuff. So from 11 years old, I was sewing buttons on my shirt, getting them laundered, doing the ironing myself, getting everything ready for school at 11, learn how to cook myself because my dad just wasn't there. He was always around, but he wasn't like, hey, come on, let's get your lunch sorted out, or what's your school uniform and your shoes clean. I had to go straight into it. And there was a lot of responsibilities when I wanted to just be outside with my friends playing football. No, I couldn't. I had other stuff to do. But am I sorry about it? No, I haven't actually thought about any of that for years because it didn't hold me back. I learned how to be smart and I learned how to observe people. I learned body actions. Did I want to be sitting there playing with my GI Joes or, with women in this case playing with dolls at 11 and combing hair? Maybe you did. But go back and ask yourself, how was your childhood? Do you feel that you were cheated from your inner child? Because it's encouraging you to use the inner child. And I'll give you some good reasons. When you're sitting there with your partner, saying you guys have been married, and you're playful. Oh, look at that over there. What the hell is that? What? You can't see, you're playing little tricks and jokes and leaving little notes or sneaking up and scaring each other. These little things that you do, this is the inner child, and you should do more of it. Having the inner child come in and out of an adult soul, your adult evolution, is very healthy. You know, um, I'm always sneaking up. My son and myself still sneak up with each other and give each other frights, and silly little wind-ups, you know. Like he came in the other day and when we were in Jordan, what did he do? He's like holding his eye like that. And I said, what's the matter? He hit me. I said, you did what? Then he took it off. It was just a joke. Embracing your inner child in your adult years is very healthy. And if you suppress it, you shouldn't. You should bring it out more. Let it play. And if you didn't have that childhood where you grew up and you didn't have all the responsibilities and it was nice, great for you. But if it wasn't, then don't feel sorry for yourself either. Because people often blame it. It's because of this. It's because of childhood trauma. My mother wasn't nice. My dad wasn't nice. I was an orphan. My father was an alcoholic. My mother was an emotional wreck, drunk. It's fine. That's the way it is. You can't go back and change it. Just accept it. Just say, look, I understand how fucked up my parents were, but that doesn't mean to say I have to be fucked up. Just say, listen, that's their bad mistakes, their bad judgment. That shouldn't reflect on me. I'm a different human being, a different person. Let it go. Let that go. Now, I've been to seminars in England jam-packed with people with trauma because they can't let it go. And they need meditation and coaching and all this other stuff. And this is very difficult for me to get my head around why people need it. Why can't they just accept it? Look, okay, this happened 20 years ago as nothing, or even 30 years ago, 50 years ago, as nothing I can do to change that. Leave it in the past, clear it. Whoever did something wrong to you, forgive them. This is the number one thing people can't do is forgiving. Forgiving. You've got to forgive people that hurt you. Forgive them and let it go, saying, send them love and light and forgiveness. Whoosh, like that. Because if you're carrying that, ah, son of a bitch. I talked about this before. There was a guy that fired me because he said I was stealing, and I carried that for 35 years until I saw him as an old man in a gas station. I told you that story a couple of weeks ago. Let it go. If your parents hurt you, let it go. If you were sexually abused, yes, it's a horrible thing that happened. Let it go. Let it go. Is it holding you back now? Probably. A lot of people, a lot of women suffer from that, you know. They have trauma because they associate one act of sexual violence with another partner that's loving them now, and you need to let it go. That's that animal. This is a different person. It's easy for me to say, I get it, because it's not me that's having those emotional issues, but I'm telling you what you have to do. That's it. If you can't do it, all right, then find a way to do it. Instead of just letting it stew and boil for years and years and years, bring out your inner child, embrace that, and you got to clear all of this other crap that your parents put you through, or your uncle, or your first boyfriend, whoever the fuck it was. Sorry for swearing. Let it go and forgive it, because it's just going to hold you back from moving on. And it's excuses. Well, it's because my mum never loved me. That's why I'm like this. What, you're coming home late, you don't text me, then you're out with your friends, is because your mum didn't love you. People use it as an excuse to set the bad behavior, to explain it. All right? I'm going to move on. Here's then the other one, ego. Now, ego is a complicated thing because it can be good and bad. Let me see if I can let the desk go without wobbling. Oh, just a tiny bit. Ego. Okay, someone's ego. Like, I know many people will never call me, even though they really, really, really want to speak to me. It's about something. Oh, you said it was great. Oh, I need this or I need that. They won't call me. Where I live in Spain, everybody knows don't fall out with Mahoney because at some stage you're going to need him. It's quite a funny thing. That's quite famous. And I never fall out with anybody. They fall out with me. Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. Bye bye. But their ego won't allow them to patch that rift, to say, you know what? Ah, fuck, man. I was tired of drunk that night. I'm sorry, Mahoney. We had a bit of a tip. How are you, mate? What's going on? I would answer saying, I'm good, mate. I've missed you. Where have you been? Tell me what's going on. Are your kids good? And it would immediately go like it never happened. Because I've long ago forgiven it. But people's ego blocks them from doing that, from clearing things and fixing things because it's their ego. No. And the ego and pride go together. Their pride is hurt. Why? Because I said that, what's going on with your teeth? Why don't you get them fixed? You've got some money, get your teeth fixed. You look like an extra from a bloody medieval film. Why don't you get that knocked out tooth from the rugby fixed? You can't wander around with a missing tooth. It looks horrific. Or why are you still limping? What's the matter with your leg? Oh, I had an injury and never got it done. You never went to what do you call it? Physiotherapy, did you? No. Pride and ego go together. And they are great at what they do. But if they're holding you back from making that phone call and solving something that bothers you, because your soul is telling you to fix it, but your pride and ego won't do it because you're in your head. No, they did it. It was there. And I'll tell you a great thing that you've experienced. Now, this sounds bad, but I'm only telling you my life experience because I'm not a studious person that's been at university to study all this crap. This is life experience. I find women do this more than men, right? So women will have an event that they know they should never have done it. They've gone out and got drunk, or they prioritize the different. I'll give you a classic example. My sister, right? My sister was moving from Spain and she left all of her stuff in the apartment and she went off gallivanting with a new boyfriend. She's 60 last year, right? She thinks she's 21. So she goes off. She says to me, it's a few years ago, it's like 5 years ago. She said, will you take all my stuff and guard it and keep it for me? I said, it's not my problem, Sarah. I'm busy. I'm flying around a lot and got all sorts of shit going on. I said, look, the owner is going to sell that apartment. I went round. She hadn't even thrown the milk out the fridge. And she said, oh, I've tidied it all up. I've moved out. So she came back a further 3 times, but in those 3 visits, she never went to the apartment where all her personal stuff was. She went gallivanting around drinking and partying with her friends, saying, oh, welcome back. How have you been? I've seen you for a few months. Didn't get around to going out and went and left again. Eventually, the owner who was selling the apartment threw all the stuff out. She lost it. And she blamed me for it. But that's the real story. She was back 3 times. It's her stuff. I told her I didn't have time to do it because I was traveling. I did a little bit. But what she did was she changed the story. David took my stuff and deliberately put it outside and then took some other things and sold it at a flea market. Like a flea market, maybe. I wouldn't even go onto one. So the point I'm making is when people make a mistake and they know it's their fault and it's like, oh my God, how could I do that? So freaking stupid. Why did I sleep with that guy? Or why did I not take that job? Or why did I not go back to the apartment? They'll change the story to the facts and put something in it. It wasn't their fault. David did it. Oh, my drink was spiked. That's why I made a bad decision that night. I had a one night stand and got pregnant with a guy that I don't even know who the hell he is, and now he's gone. Yeah, shit like that happens. And they'll change the real facts of it and switch it around and put that back inside their head. And that's the story they'll tell to people because it's pride and ego. And 2 other emotions, which we're going to hit now, it's shame and guilt. And all these 4 are a storm if you don't control them. Once all these 4 start all going all over the place, the shame and the guilt, instead of saying, you know what? Oh my God, did I make a mistake? That was a huge mistake. I wish I'd never gone out. I wish I could rectify it. I don't know who that person is, but yeah, I can't believe I'm so stupid. But no, the shame and the guilt will remanufacture the original story to be changed around and put back inside the head so they're telling everybody else that. And they'll tell everybody else that for life. My mother was a genius at it. She used to tell me stories that she didn't realize I was there and saw it unfolding. Like, I'll give you a great example. She got drunk one day and left the chip pan on. So in the old days, you cut potatoes yourself and you put them in oil. So she was cooking chips in the kitchen back home in Ireland, left the cooker on with the chip like that, and then went drinking because it was a bank holiday weekend. Ireland's all about that, and burnt the house down. And then the fireman told me, well, we can see exactly how it started. The chip pan here went up around the wall. It was only the back. The kitchen was an extension at the back. She didn't burn the entire house down, but burnt the entire extension down at the back of the house. And the fire department, the fire guy said, it started here. Look, you can see where all the chemicals is. Here's well the main of it, up and around. And then I said, oh, I know what she was doing. I saw her cooking chips for herself as I was in and out. Of course, that's not what happened. It was an electrical fault, David. And even up to like a few years before she died, she changed it, wrapped it in a different story because of the shame and the guilt and her ego and her pride. You've got to get those 4 things under control. Your ego, your pride, the shame and the guilt. Take the shame. Say, yeah, I'm ashamed. I wish I'd never done it. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. In Spanish, they have a great vergüenza. Yo tengo mucho vergüenza. I am ashamed of what I've done. Admit it, own it, eat it, dissolve it. It goes away. But if you say, oh, no, 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 I didn't do anything wrong, it's going to still stay there and it sits there in your soul, festering. And it's the same with guilt. I only have one thing I feel guilty about, which I've mentioned before, was waking up a homeless guy in 1989 in San Francisco, or was it Philadelphia? I thought it was hilarious until I saw the terror in his face, and that's the only thing I feel guilty about to this day, as far as I can remember. Something might come up. Oh shit, I forgot about that. Because that's another thing that humans do. They'll put traumatic incidents and they'll erase it. It's too traumatizing to remember. Put it away. But listen to me, folks. You've got to get shame and guilt and ego and pride under control. You are the master of those four items. Your ego will protect you. I'm not doing that because I'm better than that. Yeah. There's a really good looking homeless guy. I reckon if we shaved him, he'd make a really good boyfriend. What? I'm not doing that. My ego. No, I'm not going to do silly things like that. Your ego will protect you. But if you let those four emotions all get at the tequila bottles and bringing out the whiskey and all hitting the party, they're going to get your life into a world of shit and haze. Horrible situation. So please mark my words. Shame, guilt, ego, and pride are all in the same boat. And sometimes that boat has a hole in it. Sometimes you need to sink it. But you need to be emotionally intelligent. Do you control your emotions or do your emotions control you? I've used this in situations with partners saying, what the hell is going on? Are you in control of your emotions? Or are your emotions sending you into haywire? You're an emotionally intelligent species. Use it. Yes, if you're angry, okay, just keep the anger at bay. Don't let it burst out. Okay. Now, the other thing that's often people talk about, we touched on it, is trauma and drama, if you want to call it like that. Trauma and drama. Because they both go together. Drama, people love to create drama. Oh my God, I can't believe what's going on today. I went out of the house and I got a parking ticket and the roads were terrible. They live in drama. How many times have you got a friend? Like as a man, this is our interpretation. Our partners will be ringing up one of the girlfriends, and it's like, oh no, oh my God, really? Oh no, I can't believe it. They've all got a friend who's a drama queen that will just create drama from anything. You don't need drama in your life. Drama is so easy to control because you just don't do it. It's like picking up a fighting cockerel. You're gonna picking up a stray cat. If you want to go out and say, "Oh, there's a stray cat over there. Let me see if I can go and pick it up and pet it." Well, you know what's going to happen. It's going to scratch the shit out of you. And drama is the same way. If you want to create drama and live in drama and embrace it, then yeah, by all means, but it's just going to be nothing but stress, cortisol, and drama. And trauma, I have more sympathy for people that have suffered trauma because I've seen it firsthand. I've seen terrible things happen. I've been to places that God's forgotten. Let me say that to you. In Africa, I've seen things after tribal uprisings and places in Africa, you cannot believe a human has done it to another human. It's traumatizing. I wish I'd never seen it. I made a mistake once at stopping in a roadside accident where the car burst into flames. I'll never forget that smell of burning bodies. Shouldn't have done it. That's trauma. That's my trauma. I've experienced it. There's post-traumatic stress trauma, being shot at. I've been shot at. I've actually been shot once. I got shot in the shoulder. Feels like a bee sting. I don't know why that's what the memory was. But there's a lot of people that suffer trauma. And how do you do it? You have to release it. You have to understand it. Okay, let's talk about, if you want to say, um, I met a man and he lied to me and we ended up having a relationship and he took all my money and then left. Okay, that's a relationship trauma. Well, it's kind of because you let him in, you trusted him, and it's a lesson you have to learn. But when we're talking about sexual stuff that happens to a lot of young girls in the teens, they trust the wrong guy. And it's about trusting the wrong guy. And a lot of the times I'll put that down to bad parenting. I'm sorry if this is going to cause anybody to start screaming at me, but it's bad parenting. And I'll give you another example. My son grew up in Holland. When he was 8, I split up with his mom and he moved to Holland. Easiest place in the world to get drugs, right? My son's never taken drugs. Why? It's because I was a good parent. I educated. I showed him. See that guy there? Look how fucked up he is. Ugh. Oh yeah, why is he like that, Daddy? Because he takes medicines. He buys off people, and I can see them doing the little deals, Daddy. He was 9. And then I told him when he went to college, I said, listen, when you go to university, people are going to be taking pills and this and that and smoking, doing lines, whatever. And if you say no, they're going to badger you and say, come on, come on, come on, we're all doing it. It's all good. I had some last weekend. It was great fun. I said, if you keep saying no, they're going to keep badgering you. Tell them that you have a heart condition and any exterior stimulation can get your heart rhythm up. You'll have a heart attack and you could die. And he told them that. His friends all think he's got a heart issue. I don't know if he's ever told them. A lot of his friends are not friends anymore. It's university. You drift on. But it worked. Oh, shit. They never offered it. After he told them that, he'd go out, they'd take it, he'd watch. I believe him. I believe my son. And that's because it's good parenting. It's good parenting. I never stopped him. You want to have a sip of my wine? Yeah, have a sip. You want a beer? Have a beer. But I showed him the damages that drugs do and how bad and they can grab hold of people. And I told him how to control it because peer pressure is a difficult thing to do. And it's a parenting technique. And I'm sorry for a lot of these young girls that think, oh, he was such a nice guy. He said he'd give me a ride home. Or, he said he wanted to buy me a drink and he wanted to take me shopping. Bad parenting. And that's probably going to get me spat at and kicked and punched and strangled. We all make mistakes, but you've got to let them go. I know another guy that was a young boy that says his father was never around and he grew up without a dad. Like, yeah, your dad was an arsehole. That's the story. He left you with your mother because he didn't want to be the responsible party and have to provide for you. He was a coward and he didn't have any backbone and he just disappeared. And that's it. He's an asshole. And that's what happens. Now, if you want to sit there and say, poor me, and I didn't have a dad, or do you want to say, fuck him, man, he's an idiot. I'm not going to be like that. When you become a father, you will be a much better father than he was because you'll be there. And I can prove shit like that happens because the situation in Northern Ireland now, where all used to be terrorism and blowing each other up between the Catholics and the Protestants, one of the main reasons that it's not happening now is because all of the guys that are now sort of my age, 35, 55, they grew up without a dad because the dads were all killed or in jail. So when these kids grew up without fathers, they then said, I'm not going to prepare to do that now. I want to be with my children, so I'm not going to be involved in the sectarian violence from Belfast and Northern Ireland. They said, no, I want to be at home with raising my family and being responsible. This is what happens when parents don't do the job properly because you get distracted with bullshit, shadows, having affairs, trying to keep the secrets away. It's even more harder these days to keep your secrets because you can get an app now that if you put a picture of somebody in the name and it'll show you everything. It'll show you every dating app that they've ever been on all the way back. Um, you can't hide it now. You can't hide it. Next one, how are we doing on time? Next one is accountability. Now, again, this is shame, guilt, ego, pride, accountability, because once you get busted and you're ashamed to admit it, the guilt kicks in and your pride's like, oh God, I can't admit that. What do? You run. You run away. That's it. No, I finished. Don't want to talk to you. No, it's you. That's called a runner. I know a lot of women are like this. They're runners. As soon as they have to have accountability for their actions, what did you do last night? I went out dancing with my friends. Oh, yeah. Well, I found this phone number in your pocket. And then I looked at, I saw some of the pictures on your friends' Facebook pages, and I saw what you were doing. Dancing with a guy next to you, high-fiving him, and you're sitting on his shoulders. I'm making this up. This never happened, but you see what I mean? Very hard to get away with it now because things like that. People tag you, there's a picture, oh my God. Accountability. And when you're facing accountability, say, are you joking? Did that happen? Oh my God, I'm so sorry, babe. You know what? I had a couple of drinks too many and I just got carried away. It was a bit of a laugh. The pictures make it look worse than it was. I didn't kiss them, I didn't give a number, but yeah, there was a bit of a cuddle and, you know, she had high heels on and she linked into my arm when I was walking down the steps outside. Admit it, be accountable for him. Yeah, we broke up, we were on a break. And I was lonely. I was angry. I thought I'd lost you. And, yes, I went and found another man. And yeah, I had a 3-month relationship with him. There's nothing wrong with it being accountable. You've got to be accountable because it's truthful. This is the next one. Standing in your truth, saying, you know what? I did it. Yes. Yes, I cheated on you. Yes, I gave my number away. Yes, I was inappropriate. Yes, I went out and took drugs with my friend. Yes. Have accountability and tell the truth, and at least with the truth that you can then deal with it, because the truth is the truth. You make up a lie, another lie comes, then another lie, then another lie, another lie. And the best, I'll give you a great little technique to spot a liar. When you think they're lying, go silent for a couple of seconds and then say, would you mind telling me that again? Can I just hear that again, please? And they'll say, "Oh God, what's the no, no, just tell me that again." They'll go into silly little details like, "Well, then we went and got some juicy fruit, and her shoelaces snapped, and she couldn't do it." They'll start saying way too much detail. It's easy to spot a lie. I can spot a lie instantly. Well, I wouldn't say instantly, but really quickly. Having accountability for your actions. You've got to take accountability. Own it, even if it's terrible. Own it. Say, "Yeah, I had an affair." I went to Thailand with my friends, and yes, beautiful girl came up. I was drunk. She started massaging me. She had magic hands. Next thing you know, yeah. That isn't an affair. He cheated on you, but it wasn't done out of planning. It was doing out of last minute, just kind of passion and lust, desire. But own it, admit it. Then, if you admit it and you don't run and you face your fears, because it's like, oh shit, I don't really want to be confronted with this. I find women are really with me anyway, they all run. And I think it's because I can see straight inside and I can say, okay, let me see. I know when they're lying to me and I can get right in there and they don't want to admit it. And it's not people not in relationships, it's just normal stuff. I'll give you a good example. There was a phone call the other day and it wasn't answered from the salon I've got. So I said, well, why wasn't it answered? Well, and I started digging, saying, you were doing something else, weren't you? Yeah, I'd left the phone at home and I popped out. Tell the truth, take accountability, stop trying to cover it up with a lie, and then we can deal with it. It's much easier to do it, but people they don't want to do it, do they? They just prefer to lie. Um, all of these things are going to make you a better person. And like I said, none of these are in the right order. They're all just as I've written them down. So I'm trying to think, yeah, or being authentic as well. Stop copying people. But that's kind of a different thing. I was going to drop that in there, but I've got accountability, loyalty, honesty, and truth. These are such important words. Loyalty, honesty, and truth. You've got to live these rules if you expect yourself to be a better person, if you expect to have any form of spiritual growth, if you do not change these things about your life, you can forget it. It's never going to happen. I had a woman saying to me, I don't know why, David, I've been alone so long. I'm trying to attract an ideal partner. There's the list. How many of these have you done? Have you got, could you, if a partner walked in, would you be able to give me your phone? Probably, because, it's too new. What about your inner child? What about your ego and your pride, your drama, accountability, facing fears, running from the truth, recreating memory events, shame, guilt, and moral line? And what is your code? If you can't answer any of those questions, now I wrote down what mine are. It's truth, honesty, loyalty, giving my word. When I give my word, it means it's done. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but it's done. And being authentic, saying, I'm not going to change just because you want me to change. No, I'm not going to do that. This is me, who I am. I have an extremely high moral code. You will not bribe me. You will not tempt me. The devil can come and offer me anything he wants. It won't work. I've actually been told by very powerful people the devil's a bit twitchy about me. He's nervous of me. I'm very, very powerful like that. And I can feel that, and I'm getting stronger and stronger. My life rules have become a pattern that I follow day by day. And, you know, I break rules all the time. I speed. I don't believe in giving government money for nothing, I'm not going to go and, um, like, for example, VAT and things like this. I'm not registering for VAT. I'm not, no, I don't have to tell you anything. The easiest way to get out of any government thing is just don't volunteer information. But on a spiritual level, I tell you what, guys, I'm very, very strong on that, and I'll do the Pepsi challenge with anybody. If there's anybody out there that thinks they got something on me and they want to challenge me with something, come on, I'll go toe to toe with any of you, and none of them will put their faces forward because they'll be ashamed of it. And then you can say things like, "Well, there's nothing wrong with taking mushrooms." I don't think there is anything wrong with taking mushrooms. Um, because taking some naturally organic mushrooms that have been growing outside, it'll give you a little bit of a buzz. If it's what you want to do, if you want to escape it and escape your little life, like drinking excessive, it's fine as well. But ultimately, you're not going to stay high forever. You've got to come back down, and that's when the shadows come back. You can't escape them. If you think you can drink and outrun the shadows, or you can't, or take mushrooms or take drugs to get the shadows away. And that's why people take drugs, because they hate the life. That's another thing I should have put on the list. Self-loathing. A lot of people hate themselves. So, right, and wake up, we'll go out and say, oh shit, man, I really feel like let me go and get some stuff from my friend. They'll go out and they'll use the money, they'll buy drugs, they'll take the drugs, and then in the morning they say, I hate myself for doing that. I hate myself for doing that. I'm not doing that again. Never doing that again. Devil comes back. Drugs. Off they go again. No willpower. And they're in a set pattern. Self-loathing, which leads to self-sabotage. Yeah, very commonplace as well. People self-sabotage themselves all the time. They get a really good job offer. Then they'll go out drinking the night before and have a terrible hangover and miss the alarm and don't get on the tube or the metro or the subway to go and get the job interview. Self-loathing and self-sabotage go together very, very well. They have a fear of being successful. They have a fear of crawling out of that circle of comfortability, just getting by. Self-loathing. And then addictions. It's another one because it's difficult for me to talk about addictions because I don't have any. And I have a non-addictive personality. I know that already. A non-addictive gene. I have a very addictive personality. For example, tobacco and cigarettes. I can go out and smoke a whole pack. Let's say I have a really boozy weekend and a wedding or a golfing event. I'll have a few cigarettes for the beers. Monday comes along, I won't think about it. It will be like, oh, I really fancy a smoke now. No, I don't. Um, I don't get that. It doesn't grip me like that. Now, I can't talk about heavy drugs like cocaine or ecstasy and any other shit because I never did it, but I can talk about what I know. Same with wine. I have 10 boxes of wine out there. No, I lie, six. Six boxes of wine. And they send it to me every 3 months. But will I go out and drink two bottles tonight? No, I'll have a glass now when I finish this. I'm going to have some cheese. I've got some nice, strange cheeses. I'm going to have some cheese crackers and a glass of wine and put my feet up. I'll tell you what else I've noticed recently. I can't watch movies anymore. I've no interest in watching films, even though I'm in it. I'm like trying to watch a film. They just, oh, I'm not interested. Funny. Strange cheeses, yes. So, what's the time? 5 minutes more. I hope that all makes sense to you because it does to me. And I am sad that I can look at these things on that list and I can go back in my memory and access at least five beautiful women that I've met in my life that had I known then what I know now, I could have helped them. But I didn't, and they're still screwed up now. I guarantee it because they haven't done any of that. And trying to get people even to consider all of these items on the list is a feat in itself because people will not want to do it. You've got to be very determined to be an amazing person to clear up all of that crap. Or when I was in college, I was a stripper. Well, all right. When you're young, you make mistakes. So own it, admit it, talk about it if you need to. Don't hide it. And then just say that was, yeah. I worked in Hooters, for example. Hooters isn't that bad. It's a bit sexualized, but, you know. No, I never worked as a male stripper. I'm not a dancer. I couldn't dance. Been a few times I've had the body to do it, but I could never do the dancing. Hello, baby. So, let me spend the last few minutes just trying to wind you because that's a very sad energy for me, all of this, because it's very sad. And it's not just females. This weekend, one of my house guests lost it. He had a meltdown after drinking wine all day. He wasn't, he must have been drunk, I suppose, but he lost it. And I can see he had inner child, ego, pride, guilt, and shame. They came up this morning when he'd sobered up. And he knew he had to come back to the house because he'd forgotten all his shit. Drove off in the middle of the night. And I can see, running from the truth because he ran. He's a 37-year-old friend of mine. And he's 37 and still acting like that. And I can see looking down that list, he's not holding accountability. He ran from his fears because he realized he'd made such a shameful show of himself because he thought he was right. And everybody's like, no, that's not what happened. But I look down the list, I can see all of these emotional imbalances that they're all hanging around just trying to control you. Like, what are we going to do next? What about like the ego and pride? Yeah. Let's send him somewhere that reminds him of something that happened in his childhood and trauma. And it boils down to this. I've said this earlier. Do you control your emotions or do your emotions control you? You need to be in control of your emotions, but you need to also feel them and be aware of them and have them. I'm not saying numb them and get rid of them. I'm saying use them, weaponize them, grow from them. My last recent terrible betrayal that I went through this late summer, I weaponized that pain. What I did was I transmuted it. It's an alchemy thing. And I used that pain to grow. And I took that pain, instead of it keeping me locked up and buried, which it should have done, it would have done somebody normal. I used that pain to grow and build back better. I transmuted it like an alchemy. I changed lead into gold, and that's what I did. I turned negative energy into positive energy, and I absorbed it, took it in, and it boosted me, grew me, brought me closer to spirit, brought me closer to the divine, and I know clearly now what I'm doing. So that horrible betrayal sent me on a spiraling quest of upward growth spurt in a spiritual realm, and it was a huge favor for me. So, like this, I've said before, when you think the storm is there, it's it's not. It's just designed for a test for you, and you're gonna get tested like this. And this is the thing: Spirit sees and knows everything. You can't, if you think you're doing something behind his back, and he's never gonna find out about this. I'm gonna ring up those uh young girls I met at the beach and take them out for dinner and have a threesome with them. You don't think he knows about shit like this dark shit? He knows. He knows. And this is it. You can't run from your bad behavior. You can't run from your bad decisions. You've got to stop making bad decisions. You've got to stop making bad judgment calls. You've got to be able to say, no, I'm not going to have that next drink. No, I'm not going to hang out with you because I know where you're going. You're going to go around Brian's house, and Brian's the guy whose next door neighbor's the dealer, and we're all going to end up sniffing and smoking until 6 in the morning. No, stay away from your flirtatious neighbor. She's bad news. Yeah, don't make bad decisions when somebody gives you too much change. Give them back. Say, hey, you gave me too much money. Take this back. He sees everything, guys, and you have the power to change it. You just have to set your rules, set your life rules up, figure out what your life rules are, set your moral line. What are you prepared to cross? How far are you prepared to go? How much work do you want to put into it? How much are you going to change? How much, how much, how much? And it pains me to see so many people that have that. All of these. And there's a lot more. These are just the main ones that I came up with. Set your moral compass, form your line, set your barriers up, your parameters. Don't cross them. Don't let people cross them. That's the moral of the story in any of that. And it makes me sad that we have to address these things because for me, it's absolutely obvious. And I can look down that list and say, nope, 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 I don't do any of that. I'm always accountable for mistakes I've made. Uh, my ego and pride, I don't really have no pride to me is like you have to win the argument. You have to get the last word in. I just don't care. No, I'm not competitive. When I play board games, I was playing a version of bingo and I was doing the numbers. And I don't care about winning or losing. I'm just having fun. But people getting very competitive. No, you didn't say that. You said that. What is it? So that goes down to the pride. I just don't have pride. You know, I'm proud of what I do, but my pride would never hold me back from saying, oh, absolutely. Were you here before me? It's your space. Oh, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Go in. Yeah. I'm going to say goodbye, guys. I'll see you on Tuesday. Dr. Corey's coming on Tuesday, and she's going to talk about hydration and the importance about water in your life. She just texted me today. Happy Christmas to you, Corey, if you're watching. And I don't know if this is anything in this video that's going to help, but I'm pretty sure there is. And maybe you're going to look at your own shadows. Maybe you don't need to. I know my demographic is over 50, and a lot of you people don't need to. You've been through all this crap already. You don't need to readdress it. But if you do, there's some good tips there. And it's for the people out there, wherever you're watching. I hope there's something that you're going to address, improve yourself, bring yourself closer to divine, get yourself on the nice person list for next Christmas. I love you very much, guys. I'll see you on Tuesday, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, think about what I said. Shadows, listening to the devil, the temptations. Stay on the right path. You'll do it. See you soon.